Are you tired of watching the Lakers get absolutely demolished in the paint, while analysts keep suggesting the same recycled superstar trades that will never happen? Well, buckle up, because there's a legitimate game changer sitting right there in Atlanta, practically begging for someone to notice him. And the Lakers might be the only team smart enough to pull the trigger on what could be the steal of the century. While everyone's obsessing over impossible blockbuster trades and pipe dream acquisitions, the most obvious solution to the Lakers' biggest problem is hiding in plain sight. Clint Capella, the Swiss Army knife of interior dominance, is about to become available, and if you're not paying attention to this story, you're missing the plot entirely. This isn't just another free agency rumor. This is the Lakers potentially solving their most critical weakness with moves so clever, so under the radar, that it might just be the masterstroke that transforms them from playoff pretenders into legitimate championship contenders. And the best part? Nobody sees it coming. The disrespected veteran's untold story lets set the record straight about Clint Capela, because the narrative surrounding this man has been absolutely criminal. At 31 years old, he's being treated like yesterday's newspaper by Atlanta, bench in favor of Onyeka Okongwu as the Hawks commit to their rebuilding timeline. But here's what the Hawks are apparently too blind to see. Capella is still producing elite numbers in limited minutes. 11.3 rebounds and 1.4 blocks per game in just 26.5 minutes. Are you kidding me? That's not the production of a washed-up veteran. That's the output of a player who's been criminally underutilized and is hungry to prove his worth on a team that actually appreciates his skill set. The efficiency dropped from 65.3% to 55.9% at the rim. Sounds concerning until you realize the context. Capella has been operating in a dysfunctional offensive system with limited touches and zero chemistry with his teammates. Put him in a Lakers uniform running pick and rolls with LeBron James and Luka Doncic, and watch those numbers skyrocket back to elite levels. Eric Pincus hit the nail on the head when he said Capella might provide a team with double-double production as a 24-minute starter. That's not a maybe. That's a guarantee when you're talking about a proven veteran joining a championship-caliber roster with elite playmakers who know how to maximize their teammates' strengths. The financial genius of this move here is where this potential acquisition becomes absolutely brilliant from a front office perspective. The Lakers are operating with their hands tied behind their backs, drowning in salary cap constraints with over $70 million committed to LeBron James, $52.6 million, and Luka Doncic, $46.0 million. Their primary weapon? A measly taxpayer mid-level exception worth around $5.7 million. But Capella's situation creates the perfect storm for mutual benefit. He's currently locked into a $45 million contract with Atlanta, but everyone knows he's about to take a significant pay cut in free agency. His market value has been artificially deflated by his reduced role and Atlanta's obvious desire to move on. This is where smart organizations separate themselves from the pack. While other teams are chasing expensive free agents they can't afford, the Lakers could swoop in and secure a legitimate starting center for a fraction of his true value. Capella knows his options are limited, and the opportunity to compete for a championship with two of the game's greatest players might be worth more than a slightly higher paycheck elsewhere. The beauty of this move lies in its simplicity. No complex trades, no mortgage to future draft pick packages, no salary cap gymnastics. Just a straightforward signing that immediately upgrades their most glaring weakness while staying within their financial constraints. The perfect system fit. Let's talk about why Capella and the Lakers are a match made in basketball heaven. This isn't just about adding talent. It's about adding the right talent that maximizes everyone's strengths while covering critical weaknesses. LeBron James has built his entire career on making his teammates better, and few players would benefit more from his playmaking genius than Capella. Those pick-and-roll connections that made Capella a monster in Houston alongside James Harden? Multiply that by 10 when you're talking about LeBron's court vision and passing ability. Luka Doncic brings a completely different dimension to the equation. His ability to create easy looks for big men through his devastating pick-and-roll game would give Capella the perfect platform to showcase his finishing ability. And defensively, having a legitimate rim protector behind him would allow Doncic to be more aggressive on the perimeter without worrying about giving up easy baskets at the rim. The Anthony Davis factor makes this even more intriguing. With Capella anchoring the paint, Davis could slide back to his natural power forward position, where his versatility and athleticism create matchup nightmares for opponents. The front court combination of Davis and Capella would instantly become one of the most formidable defensive tandems in the entire league. The championship impact nobody's talking about here is what drives me absolutely crazy about the lack of attention this potential signing is receiving. Capella addresses literally every single one of the Lakers' most pressing needs. Interior defense? Check. Rebounding? Check. Pick and roll finishing? Check. Veteran leadership? Check. Playoff experience? Double check. The Western Conference is absolutely loaded with elite big men who have been exposing the Lakers' interior weaknesses for years. Nikola Jokic, Rudy Gobert, Domantas Sabonis. These players have been feasting on LA's lack of rim protection and interior presence. Capella changes that equation completely. His playoff resume speaks for itself. This is a player who helped carry the Houston Rockets to multiple Western Conference Finals appearances, who has performed on the biggest stages against the league's best players. That experience becomes invaluable when the playoffs arrive, and every possession matters. The psychological impact can't be overlooked either. Adding a legitimate starting center who can contribute immediately sends a message to the rest of the league that the Lakers are serious about competing for championships, not just making the playoffs. The under-the-radar genius, what makes this potential acquisition so brilliant, is that it flies completely under the radar while solving fundamental problems. While other teams are making headline-grabbing moves that may or may not work, the Lakers could quietly add a player who fills their biggest need while sacrificing future flexibility or breaking the bank. Capella's hunger for championship validation adds another compelling layer. He's watched younger players take his spot. He's been written off by his current organization, and he's probably tired of being overlooked despite consistently producing quality numbers. That chip on his shoulder could translate into championship-level motivation in a Lakers uniform. The timing couldn't be more perfect. LeBron James doesn't have time to wait for development projects or hope that internal improvements will magically solve their problems. He needs proven veterans who can contribute immediately, and Capella represents exactly that type of reliable, championship-ready addition. The move that changes everything. Sometimes the most impactful acquisitions aren't the flashiest ones. Sometimes they're the smart, under-the-radar signings that address specific needs while fitting perfectly within existing systems. Capella to the Lakers has all the makings of that type of franchise-altering move. If this signing actually happens, don't be surprised when analysts start calling it one of the best value acquisitions of the offseason 6 months from now. The Lakers will be getting a legitimate starting center, proven playoff performer, and elite rebounder for a fraction of what other teams are paying for similar production. The question isn't whether Capella can still play at a high level. It's whether the Lakers are smart enough to recognize an opportunity when it's staring them in the face. This could be the difference between another disappointing playoff exit and a legitimate championship run. What's your take on this potential under-the-radar masterpiece? Do you think Capella still has what it takes to be the missing piece for a championship puzzle? Or are you one of those people who only get excited about impossible superstar trades? Hit me up in the comments with your thoughts, because I have a feeling we're about to witness one of the smartest front office moves in recent memory. And I want to hear if you're as excited about this sneaky, brilliant acquisition as I am.